That's okay. Hey gang, Professor McElroy here. Week 4, learning module 4, designing with type class, February 2023. This week is all about your post-course assessment or completing any and all outstanding work. I think just about everyone is in week 3, learning module 3, kind of finishing up a few things as they kind of dive into their post-course assessment. So I always like, because it's only a 4-week session, giving you week 4 as an open lab time. I do want to take a few minutes just to talk about kind of the steps we went through this semester and where we're at and kind of the setup for your final project. We started with the history of type. We evolved into the anatomy of type. And from the anatomy of type, we went into type application, how to design with type. And hopefully through the first 3 weeks of this session of type class, you've grown to appreciate typography, the importance of the written word, how important it is to understand and select the appropriate typeface, depending on the type of product or service you're promoting and the audience that you're targeting. Type is not just a text tool where you type words and letters and numbers and symbols in, drop them on a page, and that's all you do. They are more important, in my opinion, than image selection. It's really easy to pick the right picture based on the product you're selling, the service you're selling, the market you're targeting. Yeah, images say 1,000 words, right? It's easy to pick pictures. It's hard to pick type, and it's hard to lead type, and it's hard to kern type, and it's hard to scale type. And it's hard to put the written word on a page and it be effective. It be an additive to the design, not a subtractive of the design, right? You want it to be effective. And when the push comes to shove, at the end of the day, you want your audience to react or act, whether it be to buy your product or support your service. So hopefully a month of typography has made you appreciate or have a grown appreciation of the importance of the written language. I have so many different students in this class every session. They're not all design majors. Some of them just want to learn about typography, which I think is really cool. It's a challenge, and it's something you practice, and it's something you feed your brain with when you're out and about in the world, being saturated by the hundreds of brands a day that you come across, or you're at the food store wandering through the aisles, or you're on the internet surfing the web, or you're on some social media app. Why did those words attract you? Why did you read that block of copy? Why were you attracted to that written portion of the advertisement? Because that's really, really important. And you're not reinventing the wheel, right? You're seeing what products and services and industry types do with typography, what the trends are, what they select based on the industry they're in, because there are trends. So as you evolve out of this class and you go into other design classes, or you go into a business or marketing class, and you're just being exposed to writing papers, the written language, building business plans or marketing plans, or whatever it is. Hopefully this class has taught you why something should be bold, why something should be italic, why something should be larger than something else, why you might want to change a color in typography in order to draw attention to a particular word, letter, number, symbol, right? All these things are important. So hopefully many of you probably won't have a passion for type like me, because I absolutely love it. And I actually collect historical books on typography and letterpress because I think it's really, really interesting. But hopefully at the end of the day, you're like, now I understand why those words are bold in that email that my boss sent me. Or I know now why they chose the letter red for those letters in that pizza sign for the word pizza, right? I now get it. I have an appreciation for it. I've tried to share student designs in the announcement section as we've kind of plugged along here, going from one learning module to other. Remember, Sunday night at midnight is the end of the session. I technically don't have to process grades till Tuesday morning. So if you do need Monday, I'm willing to give it to you with no penalty. Just make sure you email me Sunday night and say, hey, I still have something I'm finishing up. I will 100% get it to you Monday, because Monday night I'm going to be processing grades. And if I don't hear from you, I'm going to be processing grades after dinner Monday night. If I hear from you, then I'll wait till I go to bed at 11 or 12 o'clock to process grades. So just keep me in the loop if anything in life has gotten in the way as you're kind of finishing your final projects. I think that Your post-course project is pretty easy in the scheme of things. I try to make it where it's a little bit factual, a little bit historical, and a little bit of practice. So I'm sure all of you have clicked on the final project, and it is a simple article layout. It's just a cover page and 5 magazine, quotation mark, magazine spreads, just giving the history of 5 to 6 typefaces. And you'll see right here in the image that this particular article was about the science of typography. And you can see what they did with the letters, numbers, and symbols, and how they kind of made it an art form, not just an article. Yeah, I could give you a paper and say, write me a 6-page paper, give me the history of 6 typefaces, and that would be fine. Everyone would do it in Word and kind of just go out and do an internet search and learn about Garamond and Optima and Helvetica and Times New Roman and Arial and monotype Corsiva, and they would go out and just research it. There's tons of information on the history of the letter form, the history of the typeface, and just give me a 6-page document with the history of each of the typefaces. But I don't want that. I want you to use type as an experiment, kind of like we did with the type poster. So some things should be larger than other things. Some things should be smaller than other things, right? There should be some design to your article, to your list of your 6 typefaces. So of course you have to, on each page, put the name of the font. On each page, you have to give a brief history of the typeface, right? I would recommend, maybe you do a quote. Maybe you do Garamond as a big header, and under it, you do some statement about Garamond, invented in blah, blah, blah by blah, 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 right? So you have a headline, which is the name of the font, a subhead, which is some little highlighted caption about some cool fact about the typeface, and then your title of your article and you, the author, and the page number. Very simple, in essence, research paper. But I want to see you use typography and make it interesting looking. It's not a lot of words per page. It's the name of the typeface, a block quote, a subhead, a little funny caption or a cool caption, your basic text about the history of the type, and then a page number. So it's a blank canvas for you. So it's 8.5 by 11, 6 pages. And let's see how you introduce some of the things you learned about typography. I'm going to guess the name of the typeface should be really big on each of the 6 pages. I'm going to guess they should be kind of in the same place on every page. So if you run it vertically on the left side of the page, every font should be on the left side of the page, run vertically. If your page numbers in the upper right-hand corner, on all 6 pages, your page number should be in the upper right-hand corner. So hopefully you not only learn a little bit about a particular font or series of fonts, but you get to practice page layout a little bit with typography and have some fun with it. Remember, legibility and readability are important. You need to do that, right? You want to make sure that you can read it and that I can read it. So don't get too crazy on the abstract aspect of your design. Make sure I can read it. So copy and paste the paragraph of the history of the type first, and then do your scaling and rotating. You can do it in any program you want, from Word to PowerPoint to Illustrator to InDesign to Photoshop. You can save it as 6 individual pages. You can save it as one big document for me, whatever works for you. I want you to learn a little bit about 6 typefaces that you were exposed to in the class, and I want you to spend a little time now laying it out in a thoughtful way using multiple words on a page. So we're beyond a poster now. This is an actual few paragraphs on each page because it's the history of the typeface that you're doing. So, and you can Google a history of Garamond or Garamond typeface history or Times New Roman typeface history, and you're going to get all kinds of cool image layouts. You're going to get people blowing up the letters. Remember, the name of the typeface should be written in the typeface. I know that's a no-brainer, but I've actually had students write every single 6 typeface names in Helvetica. Well, that doesn't really reinforce Times New Roman if you write the name Times New Roman in Helvetica. So make sure you use the typeface on each page that you're creating so it reinforces the style of the font when you're doing the little historical document. I always get everything across the board here because it's a blank canvas. You have 6 8.5 by 11s, right? and you have to lay them out with 6 typefaces and 6 histories of type. How you do it, it brings into your understanding of typography, what inspires you, what you learn from the class, what your innate design sense is for whatever that letter, number, and symbol is. So I've done lectures every single week showing you how I explore type, how I see type, how I make it big and small and medium size, how I make background, middle ground, and foreground happen. Now it's an opportunity for you to A, do a little research, and B, lay out type in a fun and expressive way. You should not be leaning on photographs. This should be type based. It doesn't mean you can't use an image of a rubric or a majuscule or minuscule, a little block of some kind, a slug that has the letter stamped in it or something, because you're going to see really cool images when you search for things like Optima, right? You're going to get all kinds of samples of Optima. Just make sure you don't lean on the image as the primary thing on your page. If you use it as a little spot illustration and you use a spot illustration on all 6 magazine layouts, I'm fine with that, but just don't blow up an image that says Optima and has the definition embedded in it, and you use that as your layout. I want you to use the text tool, and I want you to explore typography. And this should be a nice exhale after designing your own type, right? Because designing your own type takes time. It's challenging. It's a grind. It's an appreciation for the art form of creating letters, right? It's easy to type it out in your computer, but someone actually created that letter and made a true typeface out of it and then made it for you to type. So that process is teaching you an appreciation for the letter form and how easy it is to not be a good communicator, but equally how easy it can be to be a good communicator. So remember, this is a PDF that you're going to save for me as your final file, and that's what you'll be submitting to me. Have fun with it, learn a little bit about type, make sure you have enough words to really make a thoughtful page about the history of each letter form. So don't just go to Wikipedia and get the first paragraph out of each of the typeface histories and copy and paste it. Like, peck around a little bit and see what people are doing and how they're talking about each typeface. Who knows? You might be inspired by something you learn about Optima that'll make you want to use it in a project with a client because you learn the history of it and now you understand why you would use it. So enjoy, have a good long weekend, good finish to the session. Please email me if you have any questions as you're plugging along here as you get into the weekend. And please let me know if you do need that Monday to do any little outstanding things that are lingering along. And then I'll process the grades based on the feedback I get from each of you. Enjoy the open lab. I just wanted to record a quick little 20-minute 15-minute introduction to the final project. So anyone that's watching it later can watch it and kind of get a little extra grasp on what they're thinking or a little reinforcer of what they're thinking as they start working on their project. I'm going to post this recording in the announcement section. You're now free to work on any and all outstanding work. Please don't leave anything lingering out there that you don't complete because it does affect your grade because it's a total point total. So please make sure you try to do each and every assignment. There aren't too many of them, so I feel confident that you'll be able to do it. Okay, gang, have a great end of the week.